Welcome everybody to the first edition of the top plays of the week here in the ECAC new semester in fall 23. Klutchke here to bring you all of the best clips from week number 1 of action. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Sharks of Long Island and the Kangaroos of SUNY Canton squaring off in Super Smash Brothers, and it's the Sharks leading this one 1-0 with the help of my guy. Although in the second set it was DS Mario main that shows perfection, and if you don't know what I mean, just keep your eyes on the bottom of the screen.
A little too flashy for my taste, as right now DS Mario main is getting the low percent advantage that we've been seeing. Again, they are a unrelenting drill, just burrowing into the stage, burrowing into any space Mono tries to claim for themselves. Up air, is it gonna be the up B? It's gonna be the finisher right there. 0 to death right there for DS Mario main.
Kilo Miles and Soy on that call, not a scratch on Mario on that stock, and that leads up to a 2-0 set win for the Sharks in the first week of action. Tiffin Dragons and the Buffalo State Bengals take us to Valorant, and the Dragons get map 1 on Lotus 13-4, but our best clip does not happen until the next map on Split, where Han Solo Burger is the last one standing. But remember, Han Solo was the first to shoot, and this one doesn't miss.
Yeah, now Han Solo Burger gonna have to do some craziness. Trying to isolate duels, gonna hit the first and even gets away. Seekers can go out, that's gonna make things a little tougher. Shots continuing to go through, and Han Solo Burger, he's isolated another one. 1v4, absolutely possible. The guiding light gets the confirmation, and Wheaton shooting left and right will have the read, but Han Solo Burger is the clutch king for Tiffin.
Play the theme song, everyone. Well, we can't play it here because it's copyrighted. But anyways, Vincent and Rare Adam on that call there. Han Solo Burger with the 4K, and it leads up to a win for Tiffin, 2-0. King Cougars and the UAlbany Great Danes in Overwatch 2 action, and this game was absolutely crazy. In fact, we're going to give you 2 plays from this game, which starts off on Lijiang Tower and the Gardens. And there's a Lucio involved, so you pretty much know how this is going to go.
It is a very rough fight for Albany. They will switch it up. Bastion on the field, as well as the Ryan, and well, there they go.
Well, you don't even get to see what the Bastion can do before Beans says, no, you're going for a
Oh my
does it again! What is going on here, Jesse? This is map number 1.
I'll tell you what's going on in 4 words. Lucio Gardens top play. I mean, that's all that can be really said about it. But our second clip takes us to the next map on Nimbani, and this one involves Oh Faithful, aka the Nano Blade.
Seeming like they are having a
What is going on, everybody? We've got another great week of some ECAC action. It's the playoffs, Shibby. This is going to be a really, really fun matchup. My name is Yanni, and I'm joined by the aforementioned Shibby, as we've got 2 teams in Brooklyn Maroon versus the ECPI Rams that have had a bit of differing seasons here, as Maroon coming in as the 6th seed and the Rams coming in as the 11th seed.
Yeah. A lot of heavy-hitting teams just in this tournament as well. We've got the aforementioned Fisher College, number 2 seed here. We've got Columbia College as the number 1 seed. They obviously have a first-round bye into the quarterfinals. There are some teams here that you have to face, that you've got to kind of go through the trenches, and obviously there are 14 teams, I believe, in this playoffs bracket here. And like you said, we've got the number 6 and number 11 seed. And I think it's going to be more competitive than we think. There are some pretty crazy rank differentials across the board, but when has that really ever mattered in Collegiate League of Legends, Yanni? I feel like sometimes the team that has worse players, the quote-unquote worst solo queue ranks, They sneak wins and they sneak by and they're like, wait, how do they win? They just won through the power of friendship, teamwork. And I think that's what the Rams are gonna try to do here.
Listen, Shibby, I've seen the power of friendship work many, many times before. I've also seen the power of friendship just not be able to stand up to anything. I mean, you recall earlier in 2023 when Maryville played against an entire roster of platinum players and beat them in 2 games in less than 30 minutes of total time. I mean, that sort of thing can really happen. But these two teams, it's playoffs, right? Throw rank out the window, throw the regular season out the window, because guess what? You made it to the playoffs, and that's where everything matters and things change, right, Shibby? Some players, known as playoff performers, perhaps, these could be their coming out parties. We could see them go absolutely crazy here.
Yeah, playoff Pete could be in full motion here for ECPI here, but we are going to get right into the draft. And I feel like ever since Worlds ended, every single collegiate draft, we've been seeing the Yone, we've been seeing the Ashe and support role, we've been seeing the trickle effect of Worlds meta coming into playoffs, and everybody's like, yeah, I am Faker. There's a guy in the ECPI team that has renamed themselves to T1 Faker. Hey, if
right
you're trying
IDs
to...
were a mistake.
Yeah, right IDs were a mistake. I 100% agree with you, simply because it has messed CLOL names up even worse. But hey, maybe this guy's trying to channel his inner Faker. Maybe the renaming, maybe it actually is just Faker VPNing in from Korea. He's like, I need to practice. I need more time to get, some championships here. But we are going to get through the bans. And Brooklyn banning out 2 mid laners. Hey, I think the Faker thing is working. They banned out 2 mid laners already.
Listen, man, you gotta cool it with the Faker talk. You don't want to get them with a competitive ruling, all right?
True.
They may be throwing out a ringer here, but
Galio
you're right. They're gonna go after. Yeah, the entire mid lane pool for Bwing is certainly getting shortened up here. Silas, pretty interesting ban in the first rotation, mostly because you don't really know what you're going up against right now. That's usually something that you either pick as your third pick, or it doesn't survive the second rotation. Kassadin, Zaya, and a Nocturne off the board with a lock-in for the Rakan to kick things off for Brooklyn.
Yeah, and the Silas ban definitely hints to me that I was going to say they might want to go for like an early Alistar or even a Maokai jungle, right? If you first pick that, the typical mid lane counter or the typical counter into Maokai has just been taking the Silas for your mid laner, and you just have a better Maokai ultimate, right? It's so disgusting. His AP ratios, he just does more with it because of the lockdown potential and the follow-up potential from the Silas. You get bursted out if you get caught by it. ECPI, though, taking some very, very strong champions here. Orianna and Ezreal. I'm surprised Brooklyn didn't opt in for the Orianna themselves. Super first pickable. They instead prioed the Rakan, which I assume there's going to be a Zaya coming in. But instead, Brooklyn are just going to take the Lissandra here. And if you're going to take it that early, don't really think the Silas ban was necessary.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because they didn't want Wing to just have a chance to pick it.
True.
Maybe they'll blind pick it and everything, right? And also, when you pick the Silas, that kind of shortens the amount of available champions that you can actually pick up, due to the fact that he could just steal your ultimates and, on some champions, perform them a little bit better than you. But as you mentioned, Lissandra getting locked in. We're going to see a Kaisa come in here as well. So these frozen tombs at Lissandra, you might see a Kaisa just kind of, zoom her way back. You know how she flies through like that, arms waving behind her, and drop a bunch of damage on a single target. So certainly something to be afraid of. And on the other side, going to get some main engagement here on the Maokai. Going to combo that up with the Orianna. Should be pretty strong.
Yeah, solid pick. Maokai pick into the Silas ban. You don't really have anything to worry about. Brooklyn might just end up pulling off the rare jungle counter pick here, actually. They locked in their mid laner, they locked in their support and AD, and the biggest rank discrepancy across the board here is Brooklyn's top side. Both their jungler and their top laner, Phil and Whelp, are masters, while on the Ram side, there's some pretty big rank discrepancies. T1 Faker or Ames and Liquid are about Emerald 3, Emerald 4 in their respective ranks here, so giving counterpick to your two arguably strongest players and two of the players that have the best counter matchup in rank is probably the safe move. I expect, these guys to really take the lead and really just lay into this top side here. Bot lane just has to survive. They just have to be stable, do their job. They don't got to go too crazy. Top side, in my opinion, should be able to carry.
Clearly had that in the playbook here for ECPI as they ban out 2 top laners, trying to get Phil onto something else. Meanwhile, Brooklyn not 100% positive that this is going to be a Maokai in the jungle. They're going to take away Hecarim and Jarvan on top of it. So I find that pretty interesting, but you know what? Maybe Hualp is just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to play either of those champions. It's not really a big deal. I don't care. As you can see what they're hovering, but right now I want to talk about the Renata Glass pick here for the side of ECPI. I like the team fight composition that they've put together. 3 really strong ultimates.
It's massive too, right? Maokai plus Renata is the most anti-engage comp that you can get, right? You see the Rakan coming in, you want to prevent a Kai'Sa from flying in, you throw down the Twisted Advance, you throw down the roots, and by the way, you've got a Renata ult potentially layered on top of it. You can just disengage so well and then re-engage potentially with something like the Orianna and what potentially might be an Irelia in there, right? Once Brooklyn has exhausted all of their engage cooldown, the Rakan ultimate, the Wukong, you don't really have too much there other than the Lissandra. Lissandra doesn't like engaging by herself. She wants to have a buddy there to help her. Usually she'll Frozen Tome in, or she'll claw in and then W and then Frozen Tome herself, but she wants a Wukong, she wants a Rakan there to help her. If they're caught up in the branches, or if they're caught up by what is the Renata ultimate, and they can't follow up, that Lissandra's left out to dry, and you can easily turn on her. The Rams have been very crafty with their composition here, and it's also going to be very hard later into the game to match this Irelia in the side lane. Now you've got an Aatrox, but 2-item Irelia, 3-item Irelia, you're going to have to send 2 people to kill her.
Yeah, and don't forget, this Irelia is a counter matchup into this Aatrox, right? That's a really, really big deal. This is showing that they know that it's like, hey, we know that top lane could be a little bit difficult here. We're going to give you 2 bans. We're going to give you counter pick on top of it. I really, really love this. As we're getting onto Summoner's Rift here, we're going to see if T1 Faker can channel his inner Faker here up in the top lane. The teams are set and ready to go. Shibby, what are you expecting to see out of this early game from both of these?
I mean, Maokai, historically the guy that will like 3 camp and flash on the mid and to just burn a cooldown here. I expect Liquid to start trying to get things started early. You've already heard me talk about Wukong so much. I think that champion is so busted once he gets that Sheen power spike. Crushing blows plus Sheen on the Wukong actually just wins out any 2v2 lane. Aatrox Wukong, if he has that Sheen, they're going to beat Irelia Maokai. Lissandra and Wukong going to beat out the Maokai Orianna. It just depends on how much farm he can get, when he can hit his power spikes. The early ganks aren't as effective because he just doesn't have any CC, which is not something you really have to worry about. You've got a Lissandra help you to set that up in the mid lane. You've obviously got Rakan in the bot lane. Wukong's job is to kill the individual. It's not his job to CC until he hits level 6. And by that time, you're skirmishing for objectives, you're looking for early dragons, early herald, and that's where he really thrives. So as long as Brooklyn can mitigate the amount of damage that Maokai can do to their team and how many ganks he can get off, Whelp will just outscale and out-teamfight him eventually.
You talked about the potential mid-jungle here for Whelp and Sam. Listen, this is a synergistic mid-jungle duo. They're both comps I made. That's got to count for something, right? So
yeah.
Expecting them to maybe make some places an auto-attack fight here in the mid lane. You're not going to win many auto-attack fights against Orianna.
No, that passive is absolutely deadly. You just saw they're both trying to just burn each other's resources out. The best way I like to think about health potions, specifically for the mid lane, is you have 2 mistakes available if you end up going Doran's Ring plus the health potion. You are allotted 2 major mistakes, and after that, you've got to play for your life. That's why, in this case, Lissandra winning out that trade has forced Boing to burn out 2 of the potions, and she's got 1 more really aggressive trade and really aggressive dive in to work with, while Boing has burned everything now.
Head on his way in, forcing the flash out of Orianna there. So, could be the big mistake that you mentioned with no potions left.
Yeah, and look at this. Lissandra's already going to be chugging on that health potion, getting 150 health, gets to level up. She's going to have that health lead and kill threat lead. As now Liquid, they are potentially looking to dive Phil here. Faker has really gotten himself a good dive here. His aims have actually stacked the lane.
Yeah, flash burnt by Phil, but Liquid is going to get evaporated. He became a gas, and now Faker is the one who's in trouble. It's 2 kills for Phil.
Ooh, what a nice outplay from Phil here. And just, having the knowledge and the know-how to be like, hey, this is a stacked wave. They might dive my top laner. I already showed mid. Let me get there and let me beeline it to there as fast as possible. But Phil really did a lot of the heavy lifting there, getting some of that CC down, flashing some of the damage. And yeah, he gets himself a double kill. That is not what you want to see, especially when you have a Masters top laner versus an Emerald top laner on the side of Rams here. It's going to be really rough.
Yeah, that flawless duet probably was the thing that needed to land first.
Yep.
You know, to force the flash before the commit came in from Liquid. So it's going to set him a little bit behind here. Is going to be able to show some presence in the bottom lane, but really afraid of what this could mean for the top lane. I mean, the plated steel caps already coming out here for Phil means that Faker is going to have some problems up here.
Yeah, Ames is not going to have fun, especially if you're Irelia, who relies on that auto attack passive stacking, right? Those plated steel caps are going to get put so much work in, and you already see what's happening. The base damages for Aatrox and his abilities is so good. You rush those steel caps, and Irelia can never get into these long, drawn-out trades with you. You don't win the burst trades because it's Aatrox, and now, because of that 2-0 lead, you don't even win the long, drawn-out ones. This lane is a nightmare. Ames had to go Cole on his back just so he can scrounge up as much CS as possible.
Yeah, and the worry now is based on the health differentials here, and especially when Phil hits level 6, you know, you could see a dive even potentially come out. I mean, you got to
100%.
nail a flawless duet in order for that to actually turn in your favor. I mean, heck, we might even see it now, Shibby. It's getting close. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sam is in a lot of trouble. Wing forcing out the flash out of the Lissandra.
Yeah, and you look just at the health potions and the health pot. Same thing with the refillable. Same concept, right? You've got two major mistakes you can make, and unfortunately, Sam wanted to get into an auto attack duel, like you said with Orianna. She's going to win those every time. She has the ability to shield herself while still autoing you. She just has the abilities to scrap with the Lissandra. For Lissandra, she's more of a setup kind of mid laner. She needs that help, as now we might see a 3v3 in the bot lane.
Yeah, Princeton might find himself in trouble in a second if Jordan stays alive. And Ming is able to close out on that kill. Liquid getting one back, but now Whelp is here, but Whelp is not going to be able to do anything more. But meanwhile, on the top lane, look at that. Should be level 6 versus level 5, and it ends up being a 1-for-1.
1-for-1 and some shutdown gold going over to Ames here. That's probably the best result you could get, right? Like, you die, yeah, your wave is not into the turret just yet, so you can TP back and pick up all the minions. I mean, I feel like, yeah, you get the kill if you're Phil, you get those 3 longswords, but giving that shutdown gold over and giving that Vamp Scepter over to the Irelia allows her to sustain a little bit more in that lane and potentially allows her to take some more extended trades here. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but like, that's really actually good for Ames, specifically because how far of a hole he was down in.
Yeah, no, that's actually so good. Picking up those minions, forcing Phil up here, and because Liquid's in the area, this does mean that there are opportunities for Ames and Liquid to come back around to get something done. No flash available on Phil if they want to go for it.
Ulti.
Vanguard's Edge available for Ames, but getting spotted out there. Is Liquid just going to clear out a ward and probably, he is going to sit around here as Whelp is in the area, level up on Liquid as well.
Oh, and that sapling actually didn't spot out Whelp as well. I mean, it feels like Phil is trying his hardest to bait, but if Liquid's a smart guy, which he is, he's going to be like, yeah, there's no way he plays this aggressively without any help coming from the back here. He's just going to back out, waste Whelp's time, potentially, go back to farming, and that's not a bad play. I mean, you show your presence, you put some pressure on, you allow Ames to get some farm in, you allow him to actually get a farm lead, actually, with about 15 CS to his name. So it's not too bad. Gold is actually even, roughly, if you count Brooklyn. They're only down about 200-300 gold, but that'll even out once most of these laners catch their waves.
Yeah, the really crazy thing is that Ames is in the lead up top. Again, you mentioned catching the wave only by about 100, and Bwing is able to get a 1v1 kill onto Sam. Shimmy, that might be like mistake number 5. I don't think a health potion could get you through that one.
Health potion is not going to get you through that. I don't even think a stopwatch should have helped in that scenario. Very well played from Bwing. Really understanding how to play the Orianna, right? I think a lot of what we see at the lower levels of competitive is that you think typically of Orianna as like, oh, just this control mage. They'll be super stable. They'll be really strong in team fights. But she can scrap in the mid lane. She's really strong, and she generally has a winning matchup into most other control mages. She kind of plays as a very, like, I'm not going to say assassin necessarily, but she plays very much like a bully mid laner when she's going against other control mages because of the auto attacks passive, because of her ability to shield a lot of damage. She generally just wins out on most trades. And you saw Sam not learning his lesson until now. He just unfortunately ate a death there.
And not only that, Shibby, once you get the ball off of your person and you're able to get a little bit of that control, these QWs, you hit a couple, it starts stacking up, right? That damage is good damage that comes through and causes a lot of problems for the mid laner as the opposing mid laner as the lane progresses. So certainly something to watch out for here is Faker go get a nice wave for himself here. I mean, you know, after that 1v1 that he won under the turret, you got to call him Faker, right?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. We'll see how much he can channel his inner goat. Because right now, with everything that's happening around the map, that first dragon is going to be taken quite late, in my opinion here. 9 minutes for the first dragon is later than we typically see. You like to see that taken around the 6 to 7 minute mark, or potentially even traded for the Herald here. But with that dragon going down, pings are already going for the Ram side onto that Herald here. And you've got mid lane control. You've got top lane kind of a lead. But now Phil just going for the 1v1.
Yeah, the Vanguard's edge did not land, and down goes Ames, and now Liquid in a 1v1. Bwing is in the area to maybe try to help out. They want to potentially turn this one, you know, does have the steel caps, so not going to help with all this magic damage as Bwing now 2-0.
Yeah, nice roam from Bwing here. Quelp and Princeton, though, are coming up. I would argue that Ames started the 1v1 at potentially the worst time. It gave enough time for Quelp and Princeton to, after that drag, roam up for potentially what would have been that Herald call. Is now they know where Liquid is. He's no Flash.
Yeah, he's got absolutely nothing. Trying to use the twisted advance to maybe get out of there is going to force the Flash out of the Wukong, but goes down all the same.
And that's a lot more detrimental than you think. You thinking, okay, just to kill as potentially Bwing wants to save this guy's Krugs?
I mean, do you see the damage that Bwing does, dude? I would go for it, too.
Welp is trying to go for it right now.
He just took him out. Bwing, though, is in a lot of trouble. He burns his flash for that one, but knows that he's going to go down with the ship here. Third chance, maybe, that he's able to get anything done. Turret shot onto Sam. Does force the ultimate out on himself, but nice flash there. Hostile takeover going to land on 2, and he's beating the tar out of Lysandra, who's been ignited. The shield isn't going to be enough. Surely they burn down, and now back up in the top lane is Ames, and Phil is able to get a kill onto Jardan, but a shot down for Ames. Should be lots of kills going everywhere, but most importantly, it's a third for Orianna, but 2 more for Phil in that fight.
Yeah, the gold is pretty much evened out. And I was talking about, hey, Liquid dying there that allows Whelp, that allows Princeton to go for this Herald. Instead, they end up trying to dive, potentially Bwing and punish them. That gave enough time for Liquid to respawn, to start the Herald here. And with Phil dying with no TP, Ames has complete control, has complete pride on this lane. And the Herald, after everything that has transpired, the dragon, the dive, everything, he should get this Herald.
Let's see if he's going to get it. It's Smite versus no Smite. And
okay.
It is secured by Liquid. Whelp's Smite just not quite up yet. Let's take a look at the bottom lane here. Gangs for Hugs is no Hugs there.
That's just typically how that matchup goes, right? Ezreal can never 1v1 the Kai'Sa in any universe, especially with Cleanse, right? You're not going to win that. Even if you're matching summoner spells, Kai'Sa's burst, Kai'Sa's ability to follow you across everywhere you go, your arcane shift is kind of useless. You play this game of chicken where you have to arcane shift after she ultimates, but if she doesn't ulti, she just holds on to you and you just get walked down by autos, by the Acathian spikes. It's kind of rough if you are the Ezreal side for that Kai'Sa-Ezreal matchup. But like you said, Herald opting in, going over to the Rams here, and they've kept it pretty even. They are actually up about a 600 gold here, the largest lead we've seen so far at the 12.5 minute mark. And depending on where this Herald goes, could expand that gold lead. Is now another 1v1 in the top lane. Ultimate for ultimate. Just a lot of shoving from both of these guys. No kills either way.
Yeah, the stun for the Aurelia not quite landing there. Could have certainly made a pretty big impact. You saw a little bit ago, Phil was actually down 2 Ames up in the top lane. So keep an eye on that because small EXP lead for the Aurelia. Large CS lead here. It's at 50, Shibby. I mean, this is exactly what, I mean, obviously kills aside, this is kind of what you want in a counter matchup, right? Obviously we know things didn't go so well early, but always enough time to change your fate here potentially. Both of these champions about half HP, but not anymore as Aurelia gets the solo bola.
Nah, you don't win that, especially if you are Duskblade Aatrox variant as well. You don't have that Gore Drinker healing. You don't have that extra kind of survivability. You've got to go for those short bursty trades. And because Bork is on the menu for Irelia here, she's full build, Yanni. Like, that's full build for the Irelia, unfortunately. You don't win that sustainability, the percent health damage, the move speed. Yeah, Irelia has sufficiently caught up, if not surpassed Aatrox in side laning, and it's going to be really rough for Phil to match this right now. And you look at Boing as well, just putting the damage down, going for that Ludens especially. This is rough for the Lissandra here, because she's Everfrost, she's utility. She can never realistically kill this individual without Wukong's help.
Yeah, things not looking so hot for the Bulldogs right now. I mean, they're down 1,200, and obviously it's not a whole lot, but Shibby, we talked about the team fight composition that the Rams have here, that ECPI has. I mean, like, this is not a team that you want to walk into if you're Brook.
Yeah, look at the gaps between the solo lanes. Roughly 1,000 gold for Ames in the top lane, and what, about another 1,000 gold for Bwing in the mid lane? Really, what's keeping BC so close in this matchup is that the AD carry and the support, kind of a little bit of advantages there, are keeping them kind of relevant and keeping them still very, very deadly. Well, looking for that 2v1 gank here. Think Ames suspects something, because the way Phil is playing, he's posturing so far up that he's kind of indicating like, hey, I might have somebody here. So Ames playing the safe route, not going for the 1v1. I like that patience from him.
Shibby, I have to be honest. I think that if Phil is still level 10, if a play happens, that this might be a 2v1 opportunity here for Ames. So keep that in mind, because you know, he's 2 levels up now. Like I said, watch it a moment ago. It's got a lot bigger. Vanguard's Edge is going to come out. Look at all the damage that is done. That stun lands too. Flash over the wall. Can he outrun the roots? He does. So Phil able to find a way to get out.
Flash for a TP there. That's not the worst trade. They invested quite a bit of summoner spells and cooldowns just to try to kill Phil here. That's going to give Sam some alone time with his turret, but not nearly enough. It's only going to go down a quarter HP, and interestingly enough, I feel like Sam just hasn't been using this Lissandra to its full potential. Maybe we just haven't seen it because they haven't really properly team fight. But when you think of a Lissandra mid lane, what do you envision, Yanni? You think of an individual shoving the lane in, roaming to side lanes, right? Participating in dives, potentially juggling turret aggro, locking somebody down. Sam only did that once, and he actually ended up dying for it in the top lane, and the play got flipped on his head. I don't know if he's gotten shy, as the ultimate does get invested from Bwing here. Not going to find a kill, but that's damn near close enough, as Sam does have to back.
Yeah, Hwalp is in the area, but, you know, with Sam so low, it's not like you can do anything. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Ezreal going down once again. So, you know, this bot lane obviously could be a pretty big point of contention here, as ECPI kind of struggling down there, but, you know, pressure cooker starting to build here. Sam is going to go in, throwing everything he's got. Hwalp gonna knock up 2, look to knock up a 3rd. The bailout is there, but it's not enough. Hwalp able to pick up the kill. Another double knock up there as Princeton is on his way to try to make something happen. Forces the flash out of Renata, and they're not going to be able to get anything more here. A lot invested, but they hit pay her.
Told you. Once. Hwalp. Ezreal. Okay. All right. Skin of his teeth there, but like I said, once Hwalp on this Wukong gets that crushing blows, gets what I am only going to assume is that Divine Sunderer, he flat out wins every 2v2, and you saw it there. Once Orianna went down, there is no hope in the world that Liquid and Jardan can win that fight. They've got to hightail it out of there. And with Princeton coming in, burning that flash, is now another 1v1 in the top lane. This time it's Ames diving Phil.
Yeah, and the Vanguard's Edge misses. A huge shutdown for Phil. Exactly what he needed there. Now 7-4, still very much behind, but not out.
Yeah, these guys are slugging it out. It's a heavyweight matchup in the top lane. Haymaker for Haymaker, liver shot for kidney shot. Both of these guys are not coming out unscathed. As now Liquid, has played onto Ming's aggressiveness.
Yeah, Ming, no summoners left, but good usage of all of the summoners plus the ultimate to ensure that they are able to find a way out.
I like that, right? That's some kind of conditioning if you can be on the optimistic side from the Rams, right? Ganks is like, hey, I'm going to extend into this lane into the Kai'Sa one more time. You definitely want this 1v1 I love how they played against it, but now ultimate invested from Princeton. Oh my god.
Yeah, Boing down to about half HP, but they don't really have the damage here, although Sam certainly just chunking him out there for a moment. Knockup lands, and Princeton is the one who cashes in on that kill. Meanwhile, it was just ECPI setting up on the bottom side, potentially to take the dragon that's going to come up in about 50 seconds. As meanwhile, on the top side, Rift Herald goes down along with a fight. Swell's Duet does land. Both top laners going at it once again. World Ender does get popped, but following with the flash there. Are they able to get the takedown? No, the healing is there. Princeton saves the day, and Whop cashes in.
The lads have arrived for Brooklyn. They came just in time to help to help Phil take down Ames here. But with all that investment onto the top side, 15 seconds left for the Dragon, you would think that the Rams should have complete vision control, especially with the saplings coming in. It's going to be rough to walk into this Dragon, and I like the play that, you know what, Brooklyn is more than welcome to concede Ocean Dragon for what is going to be a top lane, most likely tier 2, if they can get that Herald charge in, and they're going to get a lot of gold into the pockets of Phil here, potentially, if you can take that tier 2 turret down. You have to realize, in the latest patch, Yanni, they shifted a lot of that local gold into those tier 2 turrets. If you take one of those down for yourself, that is a massive paycheck here. They're going to get the charge. They're not going to play for much more, but that is some standing gold ready to be taken by Phil, by Whelp, or even by Sam, potentially, whoever is going to be on split push duty.
Yeah, and that is going to be a big paycheck, as you mentioned. So things starting to look good here for Brooklyn College. And Shibby, I have to think a lot of the issues that have come out with ECPI over the last couple of minutes is, you know, Brooklyn College, great at skirmishing with this team. Not so great at 5v5 because of what ECPI has in their disposal, but there hasn't been a 5v5. They've all been skirmishes. And now this lead that ECPI had has gone with the wind. They're down almost 3K.
Unfortunately, Brooklyn has just not been playing fair, right? They're not going to offer into a gentleman's agreement. They're not going to go 5v5. They're going to go for a 3v1, a 2v3. They're going to throw pocket sand in your face. They're going to gouge your eyes out. And I like the way that they're playing, right? They're not playing fair. They don't have to. They've got a really strong ADC. They've got the ability to be anywhere on the map in the blink of an eye. Why not use that to your advantage? Why play into this disengaged composition that ECPI has? Why not just pick and prod and pull and find the weak link and find out who is overextending, who's getting over aggressive, and then sick the dogs on them?
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing to Ames, right? You know, they saw that Ames got this lead and started playing hyper aggressive. And Ames has been punished back-to-back times, as you can see. The team wanted to make something happen onto the Cezreal, but nothing really to be had for right now. Baron has spawned. It's been on the map for a little bit of time now, and you can see teams want to make a play up on the top side. Oh, that's a funny interaction.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Maokai is a weird,
Oh,
but
wait a
now,
minute. All right, the roots are going to get blocked up by the clone there, so big tool down here for ECPI. So if Brooklyn wants to go for something, they certainly can. You can see Sam taking a lot of damage. Bwing, they kind of fell off a little bit, but trying to show that this is the Bwing comeback tour here. Still looking to put the screws to Sam on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Archangels fully stacked plus a Ludens. This Lissandra can never really 1v1. Can maybe look to clear waves, but in reality is going to have to back almost always. And I love Boeing not being, you know, so conservative with the command shockwave. Just like ripping it onto Sam here. Just be like, you know what? If I don't kill you, you're definitely going to go down 25% HP. You're going to have to back, and that's really, really good. I'd love to see him start ripping that a minute and 10 seconds before some of these objectives, because it forces Sam to get off the map. It allows your team to regain some of that control here. And by the time the Dragon's up, you've got saplings down, you've got vision down, and oh wait, your command shockwave is going to be back up. Look, he ripped it like a minute ago, and it's pretty much back up instantly.
Yeah, remember that. A lot of people have talk about how, you know, sometimes forcing someone to back is almost as good as a kill. You know, depending on the scenario, depending on what you can get out of it. So certainly something to watch here. We've been a little quiet when it comes to the AD carries here. And I have to say, you know, Gangs for Hugs doing a solid job of keeping up in farm. Does have that Monomune completed. So keep an eye on that spike. Both these AD carries on 2 items. And everybody knows how hard Ezreal spikes once he gets to 2.
It's interesting because he went for the Essence Reaver Manamune, right? He still doesn't have his Mythic available, which is interesting. So I don't actually know what he's going to end up going here. Obviously, can't go for Triforce. He's not going to double dip. You can't double dip, unfortunately, on the Spellblade passive. Yanni, obviously, you're an AD carry main. You play quite a bit of Ezreal. In this scenario, do you even opt in for a Mythic as third item, or do you even just go for something like Cyril does? Do you maybe go for Deathblade as your Mythic? Like, there's some options available. Well, what would you do in that scenario?
Personally, I think you have to go Sorel this here because if you're getting chased down by a couple of targets, you land a Q onto them. Not only could it save you, but it could also save some of your teammates here. You know, Orianna not known for her ability to really dance out of danger, so you know anything that prevents a guy like Hwalp from getting any closer, or a guy like Phil from getting any closer, can really, really mean a lot.
Yeah, I'm very invested to see what he actually ends up going. I've seen some weird stuff where individuals will go like Navori on Ezreal just to keep that cooldown up. I think that's a really interesting build and could be an option for this guy, potentially fourth item like you mentioned. If he does get to that point, I'm pretty sure he'll just be uncatchable, right? Navori, you've got the Q cooldown plus Navori cooldown plus the auto cooldowns. His E is going to be like perma up, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to just shift around and blink wherever you want to go. As Whelp going to go in, deal a little bit of damage to Bwing here as the dragon is about to spawn. Top laner's hovering around the top side of the map. Phil staying in fog, so now means he's going to teleport from behind here. Trying to catch a creative angle here, and he does catch a creative angle. And now here comes Sam from the backside. They've gotten on top of the Ezreal. That's going to cause a lot of problems. Bwing desperately trying to get away, but has to solo Shockwave. And now Gangs for Hugs gets ulted on and taken down. Liquid is low and is dead too. Ames joins the fight, but everybody's gone.
Ooh, unfortunately, Ames caught in traffic, bumper to bumper. He's late to the fight, Yanni, and by the time everything's happened, the Rams have gotten to a four-man collision into Brooklyn here, and nobody on their side is living to tell the tale here. And so, unfortunately, Ames burns the TP for no reason, and the Dragon goes over to Brooklyn. The team fight goes over to Brooklyn, and a 5,000 gold lead. You guessed it, goes over to Brooklyn.
Jimmy, I don't know if he got caught in traffic. I think he just missed his exit. He just, Phil was the one who teleported in first, and Ames was more concerned with actually taking out the wave. And I mean, like, this is what happens. You drive in New Jersey, you miss your exit, you are going on a road trip for a very, very long time, and that's exactly what happened. Dazed and Confused got there into the fight looking like the Mr. Krabs me.
Yeah, really. I don't disagree here. Really late TP, yeah, you still got that level lead and you've still got that side lane advantage, but if your team can't properly play around it, if they don't know what to do, if they're getting flanked from two different angles, that's unfortunate. You've got to be marking the Lissandra, you've got to be marking the Aatrox here in these team fights. Throw your saplings out, get some wards down. That should not be allowed, right? That was a dream scenario for Brooklyn. He clawed in, got the double root onto both Jordan and Ganks for Hugs here. All the summoners got blown. Unfortunately, Ezreal still dead. And so, yeah, Dragon goes over, big team fight win, and now you've got a lot of gold going into the pockets of Brooklyn onto all the right members. A 4-0 Kai'Sa, an 8-4 Aatrox, and your Wukong is really fed as well. Lissandra's utility, right? She's not going to bring a lot of damage, and with those kind of abilities and flanks that she's able to get off here, as now ultimates do get invested for 2 members, potentially 3 onto Brooklyn.
Yeah, they're going to try to make a play. Ames on top of Wallop here, forcing the ultimate out from the Wukong. Second one comes out, but it is a big shutdown. Going to be a 5v4. Actually, no teleport on Phil. No way for Ming to get over
Jungler down.
Sprinting over. They could try to rip a Baron, but they might lose so much. Phil looking to take out this tower. Meanwhile, Ming in the mid lane. Going to try to get the job done. Ames is up on the top side, taking out the farm as the Baron has been started up by the rest of ECPI. This means a mid inhibitor turret's going to fall, a bot inhibitor turret's going to fall, Jordan's going to fall. They are able to at least trade back there, so Jordan's life for the cause. The Baron does get secured, but guess what? This is going to be an inhibitor in the mid lane, and it's going to be a bot inhibitor turret going down as well, Shiggy.
Ton of gold going into Phil's pocket, by the way. With that tier 2 plus inhibitor, he got like 1,200 gold just put into his pockets. Yeah, he already had a bunch from the farm. He's sitting on about 2,300 here. A very good play from Brooklyn here. They get mid inhib, they open up the bottom lane, and even with the Baron, that you're not allowed to push anything. You've got supers barreling down your mid lane. You've got to worry about the split potentially from the bot side. This Baron, yeah, you got it, but what do you do with it? Literally nothing, right? It's like ice cream with no toppings.
Hey, listen, ice cream with no toppings is like fine.
Nah, I'm not a vanilla
what?
guy. I need
I
Oreo
love
chunks.
vanilla ice cream, all right? Vanilla
I
ice
need
cream.
Oreo chunks. I need sprinkles. I need chocolate sauce, peanuts. I need everything on there, Yanni, for me to enjoy it. That's just how it is. And that's kind of what this Baron is. It's just a vanilla scoop. It's nothing really more.
Listen, you know, it's a good palate cleanser, right? It's a way for ECPI to try to find a foothold, potentially get back into the game. Obviously, the gold lead is kind of still stabilized where it's at. Still 5K, right? You know, you talked about that after that dragon fight went awry for the side of ECPI. But, you know, if they happen to get a pick, you know, if Ames is able to get a pick here, all of a sudden they're putting down a lot of pressure. Vanguard's edge going down. Sam, they are able to get over the wall, but flashing forward for it is Ames. Gets double knocked up, is slowed. Teleport coming out, and the blast plant away. They used so much and got so little.
Yeah, Ames got so many summoner spells and cooldowns out of the way, right? Frozen Tome used, the Cyclone used, TP from Phil as well. What did he have to burn? A flash and an ultimate? That's a win in your book, right? And he's at 4 items, Frozen Heart as well. This lethality build that Phil aimed for, yeah, he's got the cleave, he's got the cleaver, and he's got the ability to penetrate through that armor, but it's still going to be rough, and we're going to see, can he match him in the side lane here? You got to realize, though, Ames does not have ultimate available.
And Sam wants to get a little bit of revenge here as that teleport's coming in. But I don't think he needed to be there because Phil is going to be the one who's dealing most of the damage, and a shutdown goes his way.
Yeah, I don't think Ames ever takes that fight without his ultimate. Unfortunately, the ultimate does get invested from Phil here. Now, potentially a pick onto Briston. Liquid and the rest of the gang just don't have the damage. It's just your Ezreal. Your damage hinges on Ezreal and Orianna.
No, it does feel like they could have forced that fight there, but Wing is going to head back and going to clean up the minion wave in the mid lane as the dragon goes over to the Bulldogs here. Soul point for them. I don't know if the game's going to go to another dragon, should be.
Oh, I doubt it here, like you said. This is going to be make or break come 5 minutes from now, right? ECPI is going to have to contest them on this Ocean Drake, especially if you have, you know, champions like the Aatrox, like the Kai'Sa, who can make massive usage of that Ocean Drake re-healing and regen, right? I mean, Aatrox without Lord Drinker, even with the build that he's going, plush Ocean Soul, oh my god, that's going to be insane, and will actually allow him to just 1v1 the Irelia potentially here. Yeah, you can get healing reduction, you can get some of that Executioner's Calling, or potentially an Oblivion Orb if you're the Orianna, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, especially with the way Grievous Wounds works. That regen just might be too much to deal with.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to really be a way for that to occur. I mean, you know, should be the base is already broken. We might be forward thinking here. Although 4 minutes for that next dragon, this game could be well over before that occurs because this Baron is going to be up in 2 minutes. And Ming trying to make a play goes 1 for 1 in the face of 2 of the carries of ECPI. That is ridiculous. Sam gets into the area. Phil gonna go make Jardan the target. Jardan trying desperately to get away. Ezreal comes down, and there are a lot of ultimates getting burned, but Sam has the damage. Phil on a rampage, picking 2 members, and he goes over the wall because he wants more. He's looking to shut down Maokai, but he changes targets over to the Ezreal, who's got to flash away. He's diving the Nexus turret, Shibby. Is he going to be able to finish him off? He shifts into the fountain, going golden there, but it is going to be Ames taking him down, punishing him for his hubris, and Brooklyn College unable to continue the push.
Yeah, if Rule 1 of League of Legends is don't chase Singed, Rule 2 should be don't chase an Ezreal. That is on 3 items. That guy is absolutely uncatchable. Yeah, you actually burned quite a bit of his summoner spells and everything like that, but it is so hard to catch an arcane shifting, flashing Ezreal, especially someone like Ganks Frogs, who has been absolutely stellar on landing these Qs and getting that extra CDR there. Despite everything that's happened in that bot lane, these guys are nearly even. Yeah, Kai'Sa's about half an item up, but once Gangster catches this wave, once he's able to cash out, he should end up picking what is going to most likely be a Cyrilda's here. And yes, Kai'Sa wins the 1v1, but in team fights extended over time, this Ezreal is just going to put in so much work. He has opted in for that Dust Blade there, so he can get some survivability. If he ends up getting a kill or getting an assist on a takedown there, he can kind of survive potentially some of the burst. And potentially a frozen tome coming out from Sam here.
Yeah, and that Duskblade, certainly a good option. Thought that was going to be the
Yeah.
fourth item option. Sometimes that is what it gets defaulted to, but it's still fine here, even if you don't have the Seralda's Grudge. Obviously has the penetration item for it right now. It's going to be good enough. So the Baron is up in 5 seconds. See if the ECPI can get that vaunted team fight off that they've wanted to do. They just haven't been able to get a straight up 5v5.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Brooklyn, like I said, has not been playing fair. They haven't actually been playing into what is the Rams' hands here, right? Going for a 5v5, going for something kind of more handshaky. They've just been picking and prodding, pulling away, and this Baron's going to go down super quick. You've got Wukong, you've got Kaisa ready to go, and yeah, Sam and Princeton can just stall as long as they want. Even if Sam gives his life here, just get out with the Baron, leave. You've won.
Liquid is looking for more here, and so is the rest of the team. Balls on Liquid. See if he's able to get a Shockwave and Whelp with a big knock up there with the clone to force everybody away. Phil is going to be able to take out this bottom inhibitor. That's going to be all he's going to get, as everybody else has backed up. But Baron up minions to certainly stem the tide of Ames trying to do anything more.
Yeah, we're getting into what is the late game, though, and as much as I love Kaisa scaling, and as much as I love the Wukong scaling, Ezreal, Orianna, and Irelia are monsters when it hits the 5 to 6 item mark, Yanni. I have to believe that because there's such a big mid lane difference in champions and in itemization, I kind of want to give the late game over to the Rams, right? If they play it correctly, Ezreal, Irelia, and Orianna are much scarier than what is a Kaisa, and Aatrox, and a Wukong come 40 minutes.
Yeah, and just with that, obviously, his flash advantage as a Shockwave goes down onto Ming, but Ming is looking to be able to turn this one around. Is he going to be able to bail him out? The flash over the wall, the knockup, and the bailout is not going to be enough. Whelp is able to get the kill. Teleports coming in, one apiece here, as Ames is the one who goes in onto the Wukong. But where are the carries on the backline?
Where's Ezreal?
So far away. He's trying to get away from this Lissandra on the backside. Meanwhile, it's going to be Irelia, who's super healthy but can't actually get over the wall. Flash is over, but Ming is going to be able to get away. It's a huge 3-man stun, but can they actually cook?
Not enough!
There's so many bodies and not enough damage as Aurelia's GA gets popped, and Aurelia subsequently gets popped after that. Whelp is on a killing spree, and it's only Ezreal to defend against everybody on the side of Brooklyn College.
Brooklyn College is going to end this here. Joe, the way they played that team fight, especially because Boing went down so early. The Rams, despite their mid laner, this one of their strongest members, going down super early, they try to take that fight, and Brooklyn's like, oh, you want a 5v4? We should go for it. Sam doing a fantastic job just zoning out the Ezreal there. Gangs for hugs. I didn't see him in that fight. He was off to Narnia while Ames was trying to do whatever he could to try to salvage everything. It was rough. I gave them the late game advantage only if they can get all 5 members team fighting. I don't think that happened once this game.
Listen, Ezreal, one of Ezreal's quotes is, who needs a map? Yes, Ezreal is the one who needed a map. Could not navigate his way into that fight. Not really his fault, right? He got forced away from Aatrox and Lissandra taking a unique route, forcing him all the way off, right? And then he just kind of had to try to get away from Lissandra, which is really, really difficult. Was able to do so, but ultimately means you couldn't make an impact in that fight. And, Shibby, you talked about all the shockwaves that came out for Boing, but how many shockwaves hit more than one person? There was no time at all that I saw that was like 2, 3, 4-man shockwave, because we talked about it a lot. Brooklyn College, you mentioned, did not play fair. Always fought with a numbers advantage. That's something I know a lot of coaches try to instill in their team, and they played it to perfection. That is how you beat a team fight comp to a T.
Yeah, you're completely right. I think it was 0 2-man shockwaves. Every single one was pretty much used for that solo kill. I mean, you had the Ludens, you had the Archangels. I get it. You're feeling really, really strong here. You're not going to win that against an AD carry, especially an AD carry that gets a massive shield with their ultimate. It was looking dire for a second for the Kaisa. I saw the ultimate pop, and I was like, I know where this is going to go. You're just going to get autoed down. The passive's going to come in, and you don't have any more tools. You've blown all your CDs. You don't got any more to go. Yeah, you can auto attack, but unfortunately, you're an Orianna going against what is pretty much a full build Kaisa there. really well played. It's just a head scratcher decision from ECPI to go, we've lost our mid laner, let's team fight, because they could not guarantee that kill on the Kaisa, and unfortunately it was pretty much a 4v3 because Lissandra was just chasing the Ezreal around, not allowing any of that damage to land there. Ezreal so desperately trying to get some of those Qs in, unfortunate, unable to. And with BC having the Baron in their back pocket, they pushed the inhibitors down. They opened up the map super early. That's an easy dub for them. Brooklyn, a shaky early game, but just shaping up mid and late game despite everything that happened.
Yeah, they played it pretty flawlessly, I have to say, right? They played it exactly how you needed to in order to take out the Rams and the composition that they had. And we'll see if they're going to be able to pull it off twice, because the Rams are going to have something cooked up, perhaps a ban in the way of that Aatrox. You love your trauma ban. So we're going to take a very short break. You and I can dissect this off stream. And when we return, we'll be back. It'll be the Game 2 draft between a Brooklyn College and the ECPI Rams. Don't go anywhere. See ya. Welcome back, everybody, to the ECAC Fall 2023 Elite League. Shibby, that first game was, it was messy. It was messy, right? But then it got cleaned up a lot by Brooklyn College as the game progressed. Because, man, that early game, I thought things were going one way and they were going the other. We had counter picks that died, that got kills, that got ahead, that died again. I just, this is why I don't play top lane. I just avoid that like the plague.
You're being a little too nice there. Messy? No. It was sloppy. It was disgusting. It was absolutely, I could use Gordon Ramsay terms right now, but I won't because we're on a collegiate broadcast here. No,
because you're an idiot sandwich, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it was disgusting. So many points in the games for both of these teams that can be cleaned up. If you're Brooklyn, you got the dub, but if the coach, you're not happy about that win, right? You expect a number 6 seeded team to handily take care of the number 11 seed, especially with the rank differential and the team differential, all that stuff, right? So many points in the game where Brooklyn got very over aggressive. Sometimes the Rams were able to punish, and other times they just didn't have the personnel there. They didn't have the ability to punish some of that over aggressiveness. And sometimes the Rams got really cocky and they got really aggressive there. Boing specifically, right? Burning his shockwave consistently for these one-man ultimates, not getting any kills like you mentioned. That is not why you pick Orianna. At the end of the day, you pick that champion to team fight. And if you're burning your shockwave for one member and not guaranteeing the kill, you lose a huge part of your damage there. And you kind of put a lot of that pressure on your AD carry to do the damage. And unfortunately, Gangs Frogs just wasn't allowed to play the game. If it wasn't Sam zoning him off, it was Phil. If it wasn't Phil, it was Ming. If it wasn't Ming, it was Whelp. Like, this guy just could not get away from anybody here. But we are back into the Game 2 draft here in this best of 3 playoffs matchup. Brooklyn on your screen obviously took game 1 there. For people that are joining us, ECPI, the number 11 seed versus the number 6 seeded Brooklyn. Side select is the same. Brooklyn on blue, ECPI on red. So far, the bans are exactly the same. Silence and Nocturne being taken out here. If I'm Brooklyn, I don't change it up. I do the same thing. If it ain't broke, you don't got to fix it. I don't know if ECPI have inflicted any trauma bans here just yet. They might look to take away that Aatrox potential.
Yeah, the question is ECPI going to change it up? Because it looked like things weren't so bad for them. Obviously, you had that early gaff in the top side where, I really liked the attempt. It just didn't go the way that they wanted it to, right? But, things were covered pretty nicely. It just felt like, again, it felt like more of not a draft issue, but a gameplay issue. And that was why the ECPI wasn't able to come away with the victory. So, honestly, if you want to go for the same bans, you probably can. We're going to see Rakan get taken away this time by Brooklyn. I find that pretty interesting. So, we're going to see Princeton on something else this time.
Yeah, Rakan ban being swapped out after the Galio was taken away from Brooklyn in game 1 here. So, potentially Boeing has that available here. Interestingly enough, ECPI, they take the Xayah away as well. Xayah kind of pairs pretty well. Both of these champions don't obviously need to be together all the time. They pair up with various ADs and supports respectively here. But Brooklyn, taking a page out of something I said, why not take the Orianna in your blind pick B1 if it's open here, not allowing Wing to snap that up for themselves and taking that R1, R2. Instead, they're going to opt in for the potential Sejuani here. And I've said it time and time again, I love Sejuani. Don't be cowards, ECPI. Draft the double melee solo lane. Give me Yone. Give me Gwen. Let me see you go to work with this top side. You have a Sejuani. You need champions that can enable it.
Yeah, when you first pick Sejuani, you're really shoehorned into it. Oh my god. He might be an absolute genius here. I mean, it would make sense, right? This is just a sensible pick to make here as they are going to lock it in. I'm interested where they're going to put it, right? This is a champion that you can put in the top lane, also put him in the mid lane, so you do have options here. Heck, this could even be a Sejuani top. It's probably not, but it actually could.
Hey,
so
if you're Ole Miss, you can take Yon in the bot lane too. Like,
true.
True.
It's going to take a page out of Shogo's book here, but that remains to be seen. And Yon Orianna, pretty interesting matchup, to be quite honest with you. Orianna doesn't really have the damage to be able to kind of out-trade a Yon once he uses his E. Gets a little bit of extra damage in. We are going to see Senna get locked in here for Brooklyn, and that means we could see Tom Kench is never too far behind.
Hey, I'm always never a fan of the early Senna Tom Kench lock-in, right? I get it.
Really?
You want that stability. It feels like you leave it up. Yeah! Nyla instead, or Neela. Sorry here. Yeah, I'm not a fan of early Senna Tom Kench, just to bring on that point, because you allow yourself to get counterpicked so well, right? Things like Alistar, Rakan, or obviously he's banned here, Lee Sin jungle as well. If you eat up your AD carrier, in this case the Senna, you just serve yourself up a free 2-for-1 stun, right? If it's an Alistar, if it's a Lee Sin, if you eat your AD carry up, you get kicked into the team. Oh, 2 for the price of 1. I'm not super a big fan. I like seeing the enemy bot lane prior. If you can run that Senna Tom Kench, instead, they're going to run the Senna Neela here, a much more aggressive option as well. We could also see the Ziggs being locked into here. Heavy range advantage for ECPI here. I want to see the Ziggs bot. It's still pretty damn good, even with some of the nerfs that it got.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a bot lane pick here because it's a really good neutralizer into a lane like this that can get really, really aggressive. People, you can kind of limit test a little bit on Neela and go really, really deep, do a lot of damage, and not take a whole lot back in return. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Good call out there, Shibby. Second portion of the bans here. Looks like this time around they're going to be aimed a little bit further towards the bottom side. Obviously, Rel of Flex, but I can't imagine that Brooklyn is going to go double jungle bans here. But for ECPI, they are getting the Jarvan out of the way here. And we'll see if they opt into a top laner as well. Cassante was banned last game, now available here for Phil, if it is going to be a Camille lock-in, which it is.
Yeah, I'd love to leave the Cassante up, because if you're ECPI, that gives you a free Gwen angle, right? One of those champions that classically was kind of seen as like a lane match or even a counter into the really old busted version of Cassante. With the more neutered, nerfed version, I'm going to say nerfed, kinda. It's not that bad of a matchup again. Gwen's still really, really good. I would like to see the Nautilus banned out from Brooklyn here, just to not pair it up with that Ziggs. They're instead gonna remove the Thresh, so I have to assume that the Rams can just lock Nautilus in, and you've got Nautilus Ziggs in your bot lane. That's superb for team fighting. Depth charge plus Mega Inferno Bomb? Absolutely massive, but instead, they're gonna go for something a little cheeky here. The Blitzcrank locked in for Jardan here. Could this be a Ziggs mid, Yone top? I think they could go for it. Like, they could flex this up. This team is we only know the jungle and support, realistically.
They're hitting the gym, Shibby. It's a triple flex, baby. You don't know where any of them are going to go. One thing that I do want to point out, Jardan, an avid Blitzcrank player. I'm actually very happy to see the Blitzcrank come in here. Yeah, pulling the Neela could be problematic if you don't kill her right away. And you don't exactly have the damage to be able to do that. So the jury's going to be out on that. We are going to see the Malphite lock-in, which could lead to a Gwen pickup here. It could shift the Ziggs into the bottom lane. But then the problem does become they'll be very, very heavy on magic damage. Remains to be seen what the options are here, Shibby.
Yeah, could see a Samira potentially for Gangs for Hugs. I don't think he's going to go on the Ezreal. I want to see something aggressive, right? You've got Blitzcrank.
Anything.
You could, yeah, literally could be anything. They're going to opt in for the cannon here into the Malphite. I like that. Still a counter matchup. Yes, it's a very AP heavy. You're not going into the Gwen. I'm not a big fan of only pairing up the Sejuani with the Yone, though. I get it. You get that really strong mid 2v2. ECPI, once again, just playing for that raw team fight advantage here, right? Blitzcrank, you've got Kennen, you've got Ziggs, you've got Sejuani. Really good monsters in their own right. But Brooklyn have drafted themselves something very crafty here. They've got that all-in composition. They got ball delivery with both Vi and Malphite. They've got a lot of skirmishing power, potentially with the Senna and the Neela. God forbid the Apothecary plus Malphite plus Vi plus Orianna combo lands onto a majority of your team. That's disgusting. That is a whole lot of AoE damage. It's going to be very, very difficult for the Rams to get in here. And even if they do, what do you do? Like, Brooklyn has the ability to burn 2 of their ultimate cooldowns for team fights and still have more gas in the tank. While on the Ram side, you've got a Cannon ultimate and you've got a Mega Inferno Bomb. The rest is very isolated 1v1 kind of damage, right? You're not hitting most of the time 4 or 5-man Yone ultimates. You're definitely not going to be hitting multi-man Sejuani ultimates. That's not the point of that character here. I feel like Brooklyn has so much more firepower in the team fight department.
Yeah, and it's great because they've got a similar skirmish composition. Like, you can skirmish this a little bit too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar to what they did in the last game, but it also team fights superbly well, right? So I think they've got a better team fight composition than the Rams here, which is a little bit of a problem. Jardon with the Blitzcrank in the area, but has been pretty easily spotted out. But I got a bone to pick with you. Shibby. What did you call Neela's ultimate?
Is it the apothecary? No, it's not that. Apotheosis?
Apothecary. That's actually pretty cool. You know. Ooh, what if they made a champion that made potions and they made him a carry champion? You could actually call him the apothecary. Thank you, our fantastic observer.
Thank you,
Samantha.
you forgot about my boy. You forgot about my boy, the potion master?
Yeah, sure.
Mr.
Sure.
Mix,
He's
swirl, swirl.
He's not a carry. Come on.
I
saw.
a
pain. He's just a pain. Luckily, he's not in this game, so I don't have to deal with it. Ward getting placed down on the red buff to get spotted out. So we're going to know where a couple of members of the squad are starting. Interested to see how Sam and Wing go at it here. Shibby with this vision now on the top side here for Hualp. What's going to be the move here for Liquid?
I think Liquid just starts bullying mid lane, right? Like, Sam has been known to be kind of aggressive, right? Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Let's see. Okay, all right. I don't know what...
He didn't have vision. I mean, you gotta
Sure.
try, but it was a good smite
Sure.
there by Hualp. Shuriken.
You Wayne Gretzky, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I respect it, Ames, but like you said, that 1v1 power, yeah, Sam not really able to do anything. He's gonna take advantage. Boing! Will flash follow. Yeah, trade. You get executed. Oh no, you don't get executed, unfortunately.
No.
You trade 1-for-1 though. Yeah, you trade 1-for-1. You know where Whelp started. He's wasted a lot of time. He's only level 2. Unfortunately, though, Liquid is going to go into his topside jungle here and be like, wait, where's my Raptors? Like, you should just start beeline pathing it to this guy's blue because you saw Vi path all the way down diagonally to her red. Instead, they're going to spot him out on vision. And yeah, I think Liquid's actually going to come, unfortunately, out with a camp deficit. Whelp, despite the wasted time, in theory, should come out with a substantial 2-camp lead.
Sometimes your Liquid is that pure volcano water, and sometimes it's tap water. And right now, it's looking like it could be trending toward a tap water angle. Depends on what happens with Hualp here. If he's able to make it back up to the top side, if Liquid elects to maybe go inside the enemy top side here, is hovering around, see if he wants to make a play on to Phil here with the wave pushed up, but Liquid will move down, and he's just taking the passive route here, heading toward mid. He's dancing.
What? Take the topside jungle, my friend. It's too late. They spotted you out. You're waiting for this crab. You have no priority. Top is shoved, mid lane's even, and yeah, a level 3 Vi is coming in with full sums, with full cooldown. Yeah, unfortunately, okay.
Nice flash play onto Sam. Sam has no flash available. Is stunned up. It is going down.
Disgusting.
Wing. Kill number 2.
What? I'm speechless. That should never work. Liquid should never be able to get that gank off. Sam, you saw Phil and Whelp spot out the Sejuani near river. You even saw the Sejuani path upwards a little bit. Instead, you just stay mid lane and you don't have flash. You don't have any way to get out, and you just eat that raw. Liquid's a better jungler than I am, I guess. That was just an insane pathing. You miss out on camps. You get spotted out by the enemy top and jungle, and you still manage to get a kill mid lane. Yeah, Sam is. His eyes aren't open, man. He's just not. He's asleep. He's asleep.
He can jungle in his sleep, apparently. He was able to get a big assist there, but yeah, Shibby, why don't you tell me how you really feel, man? Clearly you have some opinions about this. I listen, man. Solo queue and competitive aren't the same, all right? You're just a solo queue jungler, man. You just don't have the game sense.
Yeah,
I understand, but realistically, I mean, Liquid is very lucky that play worked the way it did, right? Because you lose a lot here. It's 12 CS lead. I'm sure you'll be able to tell me however many camps that is, because I never remember. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Phil has had his fill of this cannon, able to shut him down. And now, 3v2 in the bot lane. Gank gets a view from Liquid, flash forward, and they're going to land the knockup onto the Neela. Neela pulled all the way in, stunned up, but guess what? They don't have enough damage. Ziggs doesn't supply a whole lot at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of anti-synergy in that bot lane, right? Typically, you like to see the lockdown coming from something like a Nautilus, allows him to kind of land his full bevy of abilities, right? The bouncing bomb, the mines, the satchel even, right? Even the powered autos. But with something like a Blitzcrank, takes a little bit more finessing, as Bwing should just be able to ult on out of here potentially, unless he just walks it. Oh, one more auto, and yeah, he's just gonna walk it out. What?
He sauntered out.
Yeah. Boisterously, even.
He's staying.
Uh-oh.
This is pretty risky by Bwing, although Sam doesn't have a whole lot of mana. He's able to pick up the cannon, so it appears to be worth for right now, but you can see Sam just kind of chilling out. Has the, if you ball into Shockwave here, that could be something that you're able to get done, but Bwing going to safely be able to pick up the rest of the minions, only down about 5. Very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, Sam had to play a little bit more hesitant, let's say, because of Liquid's attention to mid lane that has been so obviously evident there, right? He was just playing like Bwing was playing like he had a jungler in his back pocket, but now he's playing like he's got a support in his back pocket. And yeah, Yone Ultimate gets invested, and he's gonna get sliced and diced and slap chopped up in the mid lane. Sam goes down, Yanni.
Yeah, slap chop, fruit ninja, whatever you want to call it. The flash by the Ziggs, but got rooted up anyway. And Ming is the beneficiary of that kill. A huge CS lead to boot. Things starting to go well for the side of Brooklyn College, at least in the bot lane.
And I'd even argue that Bwing is on an even more kind of 1v9 hard carry champ, right? Yeah, Orianna scales super well. Really immaculate team fighting. Have you tried to deal with a Yone in the late game with such a big lead? If he opts in for what is going to be the Kraken into Hullbreaker, he's going to be a menace in the side lane. Malphite's not going to be able to match him. God forbid the Orianna tries. Like, it's going to be rough, especially with all this gold sequestered into his pockets, right? He is all the gold for ECPI here. Even though Brooklyn do have that gold lead, you look kind of at the CS differentials in the jungle, in the bottom lane, and a little bit in that top lane. Yeah, it's allowed them to kind of gather small leads here and there, but it's difficult to deal with a champion like Bwing if you've got all the setup ready, right? Liquid, once he hits level 6, those ultimates coming out for the Sejuani, Sam's dead to rights 9 times out of 10, even with flash potentially. Is now another solo kill. We missed it completely, but Phil walks out with 75% HP.
And Bwing has to flash out of there. Sam flashing forward.
No.
Sam is not going to be able to close out on the kill. And Bwing picks up kill number 4. And before you talk about Bwing, I want to point out, Phil is going AP.
Oh yeah, one shot. Why not? Who needs a tank? I mean, realistically, right? Go AP. If you one-shot their Ziggs or their cannon before he's allowed to enter the fight, you win, right? The best defense is just killing the enemy team.
Yeah, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. They all say defense wins championships, but right now, Brooklyn College in a solid enough spot. Obviously, this Yone is going to be somewhat troublesome. We'll have to see how things develop there. As Bwing does have teleport available, but it looks like he's just going to walk it back to the mid lane here. So that's going to be an advantage to keep an eye on. Rift Herald getting started up by Brooklyn College because, guess what? Your strongest member is not on the map right now for the side of ECPI.
Yeah, and I like Bwing having the patience to hold that TP, right? Especially when we're so close to the unleashed teleports rounding the 10-minute mark. That allows you to potentially make plays on the bottom side or TP to the top side, where Sam, unfortunately, does not have that advantage. And Bwing has been doing a really good job of kind of shoving in Sam and really getting the wave shoved into turret and just going missing on the map, right? Roaming into a side lane, roaming into the bushes, and putting fear of God onto Brooklyn's side here. That's a 4-1 Bwing, ready to slice and dice anybody on the map here. I like that play, and potentially that TP might end up going top lane. We see Bwing ready to TP.
Uh-oh, stun is going to land onto Phil. Is Phil going to be able to close out on a kill? Dawning Shadow gives him the a little bit extra shield. He will die, but he goes down to the Sejuani. So it's going to be a shutdown for Liquid. So not exactly who you wanted at all.
Yeah, no money, no problems. Unfortunately, Phil, 3-1, a lot of bank account, a lot of gold in his pockets, is going to be, you know, kind of the, oh, wait a minute, Whelp!
Yeah, cease and desist goes down, but here comes the teleport. It's going to be Wing is going to be able to stop Whelp here, and is just able to snap back in time, get off the damage, and Liquid lives to fight another day.
We talked about the TP advantage, right? 9 minutes in, the decision from Boing to not burn the TP mid lane so he could have the Unleashed available, rightfully so, TPs to the top lane, saves his jungler, gets another kill onto himself. Yeah, you lose a plate or so, but Ames is able to catch most of that mid wave, and they're just going to trade waves here, not lose too much. Really good foresight from Boing there to use the TP to understand the advantage he has and to make a play off of it. 5-1, 11 minutes in, Kraken Slayer available. They've got the item advantage in mid jungle. I expect them to transition that into some dragons, into some more team fights, into some more pressure across the map.
Yeah, they really need to, because the Swift Herald that's still in the back pocket of Whelp there means that more gold could go over to Brooklyn College. Here comes Jardan. He's going to flash, lands the knock-up. I mean, realistically, does Sam have anywhere to go? Dodges out on multiple abilities, but is going to die all the same. The kill does go over to the Blitzcrank.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Sam there, right? He walks towards his turret, he gets hooked, he gets ultimate by the Yone. If he doesn't walk in, yeah, Yone just presses E and he just slices and dices you up. A dodge, sure, you can say that, but really a catch-22 for him and a really nice play. Jardan, absolutely immaculate on some of these roams, and because you've got that Ziggs there, it has allowed you to just roam and not get punished. He clears waves like a madman. Neela and Senna, unfortunately, not hard engaged. They cannot punish these roams from Jardan, and Liquid is here just in case the Whelp is here to do a 3v1 dive. He's there to cover it. He's there to turn things around. Nice team play coming out from the Rams, and just really nice play playing around your strongest member here, Boing. Unfortunately, Ames is just going to be an ult bot here as the Kennen. That's all he really needs to do.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is that the pressure that Boing has brought to the table has resulted in Ames actually getting, you know, he got a couple plates there, right? You know, so things looking not the worst, right? You know, you get a little bit of gold there. You're kind of even, you're even-ish on CS. Obviously, you're down quite a bit, but you mentioned being an ult bot, at least it's a really useful ultimate. If you're able to get an item or two and, you know, kind of keep pace, it'll be really, really important to see Ames is able to make some plays. We're going to see the Dragon get started up here. Whelp is going to show up and is going to find many angry members. The Dragon going to be secured as well for ECPI.
That guy was on a one-way mission to death, right? Like, he's just like, let me see if I can steal this Dragon, potentially get some stacking going. I'm not a big fan of the play. I think you could just queue over the wall, if anything. But now the pull from Jardan!
Yeah, Ming is okay for now. Does take a lot of damage from the Ziggs, but again, just not enough right now. Has that Leandries. It's, you know, it's not going to get a whole lot of mileage out of me. Not going to get a whole lot of mileage out of most members because Phil is full AP and Phil is just, I don't know. I don't know worse to describe what just happened there, Shivy, except for that was not nice.
You would need to go to an R-rated movie for me to use the words described to what happened to Ames in that top lane. What's been happening to Ames in the top lane there? The man has been getting sent to the death realm multiple times. Fountain after fountain after fountain after fountain. You would think the guy is thirsty as hell.
Yeah, I mean, he's going back to the fountain the entire, you know, he hasn't seen his jungler too much, but he still has seen a lot of liquid in that fountain. So at least he's getting some jungle proximity through that. But, you know, things not going so well. Malphite Everfrost, I think, is actually pretty interesting here. I think it actually works really, really well against the Yone. But sometimes raw damage is just better, Shibby.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not that bad of a buy, right? Because if you are locking someone down as Jardan is back once again.
Here he is, once again. Spanking the Ori, but now it's Malphite trying to do something, but is not able to actually deal any damage back onto Jardan, and Ming is able to get a solo kill and lives with a sliver of HP.
26.
Able to walk out. 26? Jeez,
26 HP he walks out with. That's why you pop your potions, guys. That is literally why you pop your potions there. As he had that one red pot still able to go there. Ming gets the 1v1, but right now, the Rams have been playing immaculate control on this mid lane. Thanks to Jordan, really. These blitz roams, 3 for 3 onto Sam here. Every single one has ended up in a kill here. This guy likes to play Blitzcrank. I'm surprised Brooklyn did not give the respect this man deserves. You have to believe that if this goes to a game 3, Brooklyn's taking that out of the champion rotation.
There is one thing to note here, Shibby, that even though he's been making really, really nice plays, they're all onto the Ori, as you said. Oriana's been worth less and less gold. No assists and only 1 kill that happened at level 1. Oriana's died 5 straight times without registering a kill or an assist. So you're just kind of like trying to get blood from a stone at this point. You're not really getting a whole lot, and that's why this gold difference is just 300.
Yeah, I mean, your Yon's getting really, really strong, but you haven't been able to really shift any of that power other than that dragon. Now they're going to try to use it to potentially pick up the second Rift Herald. But at this point, we talked about it a little bit off stream or during the break. Start shifting your bot lane to mid lane, right? Put Yone in a side lane. Like, your mid laner's really strong. Move Ziggs mid, allow your bot lane to keep up the pressure around these objectives, and force somebody to match Bwing here. And if they do, if they step too far forward, if they get a little too aggressive, Bwing can punish immediately. Worst case scenario, he draws 2 and you get a 4v3 on any objective. Best case, he takes down a tier 2 for himself.
See, if that's what they elect to do, if they're just going to keep Bwing in the mid lane, I'm also interested to see what Bwing is going to do, if he's going to build a hole breaker or not. Obviously, it looks like he's heading toward that Infinity Edge here with this itemization. It could be a Bloodthirster. You know, there are multiple options here, but you know, it's about Mythic 30. You know, it's Mythic time.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. 17 minutes into the game, and everybody's pretty much got at least some of their completed items here. Collector Rush for the Neela here. Not going to be able to do too much against champions like Liquid, specifically at the Sejuani, who's rushed pretty much full armor. It's going to be really rough, especially as the lethality from Senna as well. Sejuani can just like 1v2 zone these two AD carries out, and she's going to be completely fine. She's going to be completely healthy here. But realistically, if you are the Neela, you're trying to kill somebody like Kennen, like Yone, like the
oh man,
Ziggs
this
here.
is
Now this is cyberbullying.
Yeah, man, this is somebody call an administrator. Get an administrator down here. This is not okay, man. They just keep picking on Sam here. They throw him into a locker and they slam the door shut. He's 1-7. Gerald getting dropped in the mid lane here. Going to get a charge off, but the turret still stands tall.
Honey, they didn't just throw him in the locker. They gave him the swirly. They took his lunch money, his milk money. Man, they even took one of his shoes. That's what they did there. That's what's happening to Sam right now. He's getting...
Not the Air Maxes.
They got the Air Maxes. He's getting bullied beyond belief in this mid lane. And at this point, I don't think it's worth to invest so much, right? Because you've done all that, but Brooklyn has still managed to apparently sneak potentially a dragon here. No one on the team is actually ready to contest this. So despite Sam going down in the mid lane, Bwing had to reset. He burned all the cooldowns. He had an item ready. He opts in for the Infinity Edge. So you have to think this is a team fight-centric Yone pick here. The dragon gets snuck by Brooklyn, and that should have been the Rams. With that mid lane kill, the most important thing you have to do is what can these kills get you objective-wise. Right now, they're not getting you too much gold here. They're going to kill him again. I think he's going to get maybe 100 gold off of this.
No, he's not going to kill him, dude. Sam's got the sweet feet right there. Even though he's only got one shoe left, now they're going to try to turn this around onto Bwing, and it's a shutdown for Hualp. The gold reset, though, for Sam. That's important.
Yeah, that is a gold reset here. You look at the Yone. He is nearly 2,000 gold ahead of his counterpart. But across the board, the gold has been evened out. Obviously, you see the Malphite has been solo boloing aims here in that top side. Super strong in his own right. Has not actually opted in for a 5v5 team fight. He is cooking something mean, something spicy, going for the blue build potentially here. He could go for Frozen Heart here, which wouldn't be insane, right? Stop the auto attacks from, I guess, the Kennen and the Yone. I would opt in for potentially a Randuin's, a little bit cheaper. Once you land on the individual, you can slow him down with the active. Once you land that slow, you can then, root him down with the Everfrost. A lot of lockdown potential with Phil here, if he gets onto the right members, like the Ziggs, like the Yone. It's actually just won't be able to move if if this Malphite's on top of you.
Shibby, how did Sam get the first turret? Sam got first turret. Look, all right, Sam is hanging in there, labored breathing, black eye, bloodied face. I didn't hear no bell. Just doing everything he can to make an impact in this game. And, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. ECPI, they were getting those picks, but they weren't able to actually do anything off of them, right? Like, yeah, you secured a dragon out of one. You secured a Rift Herald out of the other. But that Rift Herald didn't yield you a turret. Obviously, now this turret is going to go down. You're going to get rewarded for it. But Wing could be in a little bit of trouble. Cease and desist not available for Hulp. So means that no play to be had there for Brooklyn.
I was suspecting that Phil might have flash ultimate, like he's been doing so much on teams here. As we are going to go into the top lane here. Brooklyn just kind of slowing down the pace of the game, mitigating some of those mistakes. I mean, Sam is literally 7 deaths, right?
7 deaths, Sam, baby.
Yeah, I mean, like, realistically, I say Brooklyn has mitigated the mistakes. Brooklyn, other than Sam, hasn't really made many mistakes across the board, right? Bot lane's been playing pretty damn well. You see the Collector into what is the Maw of Malmortius, allows him to 1v1 both the Kennen and the Ziggs here. Really allows him to, take the brunt force of a lot of this magic or AP damage that's coming out. Sam, realistically, despite everything that's happened, he's 2 items on Orianna, Leandri's Archangels. His shockwaves are going to hurt. Oh!
Yeah, we saw how well that spike occurred earlier in the game. Double teleports coming in as they want to try to make a play. Another teleport coming in. And now all of a sudden, 5 members of the Rams are up on the top side to just the 3 of Brooklyn. And they're just kind of hanging out in the mid lane. Are the rest of them? They're going to get this shove in. The teams are going to look to regroup here. Potentially a pick to be had. Jordan, Blitzcrank Cook available, but teams are going to just kind of get away like ships passing in the night. You see the pings going down onto that bottom outer turret, Shibby. So while we have a moment, take stock of the situation. 2 dragons to 1 with another dragon on the way in a minute and 10 seconds. 500 gold here for Brooklyn. Could be a little bit more, but good job clearing the wave. That means that Ming is going to take a lot of damage, so he's going to be off the map for a little bit of time. They are going to greed for the wave, but
yeah,
they might be okay. Liquid is going to come in, is spotted on the ward, so time for the bot lane to leave. They will be back for the dragon, but do keep in mind, no teleports here for Brooklyn.
Yeah, Summoner Spell advantage for this dragon coming up with ECPI, as well as no flash on Whelp, right? Really mitigates some of that engage that the Vi likes to do, where she queues in, flashes, singles out an individual, and then you've got the command shockwave coming out there. Flashes available on every single member of ECPI here. Crucially, the one you should really be looking at is not Blings, but aims on this cannon. Flash ultimate is the key to winning this team fight against Brooklyn here. Yeah, you've been beaten. Yeah, you've been battered. But if you can get a nice 3, potentially 4-man stun into what is going to be that super mega Inferno Bomb coming in, pull comes out from Jordan, and Whelp's just going to die because he doesn't have flash. And that's the dragon. But Boing's going for more.
No, Boing going crazy there. Phil gets knocked up. Teleport coming in. Phil has to ult away. In the blink of an eye, the Rams, they buck hard and they pick up 2 kills plus a Drake.
And that's a flashless Whelp, right? We just talked about it. We were saying he doesn't have a way to get in, and he definitely doesn't have a way to get out. And when you get hooked over the wall, Jordan on this blitz has been an absolute monster. This is a Baron angle. 10 seconds on the Vi, no ultimate on Phil. So many key cooldowns have been blown, and Boing still got the chutzpah to take more fights.
And he goes back in for it. Solo Shockwave lands, flashing forward. Is the Malphite? He is able to root him up. The Dawning Shadow going to help out with a little bit of a shield and a shutdown. Over to Phil. And now the engagement is over to Sam here, getting chased down by the Sejuani. Not stunned up quite yet, as they are able to keep Liquid off for now. But more importantly, they pull the Rams off of the Baron.
Bit of a misplay, I'm going to say here from Wing here. Losing your life in a situation like that, you are the strongest member of your team. They need you so much more for this Baron than I think any other member on ECPI here. Unfortunate, he got a little too aggressive there. You knew the Malphite ultimate was down. You knew that Whelp was down for another 10 seconds. Sam can't really walk up there unless he really tries to go for a cheeky shockwave there. ECPI opting in for the more aggressive kill-heavy angle instead of just taking the Baron breathes some life into Brooklyn, and really the game is even. Brooklyn don't get punished for their jungler going down. They lose a dragon, but it's still 2-2 apiece. That's the best scenario you can get when Whelp goes down, really.
Yeah, and that's so pivotal here for Brooklyn College because ECPI gets that. They are firmly in the driver's seat. And, you expect a game where you have a 10-3 Yone, who's on 3 items plus stopwatch at the 25-minute mark, to be a game that you have in hand, but they are struggling to be able to really put Brooklyn College away. Brooklyn College showing incredible grit here, looking to make this a 2-0 series after things were not looking so hot, but the rest of the team has really played a stable game. I mean, Hwalp obviously getting picked there, but prior was 1-2-1, generally fine, made a play, died during the play, happens sometimes, but if they're able to get a quick pick or something, they'll be the ones back in the driver's seat, really.
Yeah, I mean, this game's dead even, right? We're at the point of the game where one team fight can wildly swing the tides of this game here, right? Because that's a Baron, that's potentially tier 2 gold, even tier 3, right? You've got the ability and damage to take down these turrets very, very quickly here. Siege potential for both of these teams, very, very good. You've got Neela, you've got the Orianna, you've got the Senna on the side of the Brooklyn team, but you've also got Ziggs and Kennen ready there for that siege, right? Ready to dive you potentially here with Liquid tanking up the turret. Baron is so crucial, so pivotal, and I don't think it's going to be on the team who starts it. It's going to be on the team who ends up reacting to it and properly wiping the team, right? Because both of these teams, I don't think they want to be one starting Baron. They don't want to be funneled into these small corridors against something like a Kennen, against something like an Orianna or a Malphite here. You want to force the other team to start it, and you collapse inwards.
Wing able to go over the wall, take out the pink ward, and get out. Such a valuable tool there. Really no way for Brooklyn College to be able to pick him off there. So something to watch out for, Shibby, as the game is really on Jardan to go make some picks here. Blitzcrank, as the game progresses, doesn't really do a whole lot at times unless you're hitting those big hooks, which, we've seen the hooks land onto Sam, but we haven't seen anything else really, Shibby.
Yeah, you don't want to hook someone like Phil into your team, right? He's got Frozen Heart and Abyssal Mask. That's a whole lot of reduction in stats happening all at the same time. You could hook someone like Whelp, Sam, or obviously one of the two bottom laners here, but it's going to be difficult. I think the crucial thing is, if you're Jardan, you can miss 99 out of 100 hooks. You land that one crucial one onto Sam, onto Ming, that changes the fight, that turns the tide for ECPI. That's all you need here. He's been absolutely killer on a lot of these hooks, but once the team fighting happens, once the groupings begins to happen, you've got to get a little bit more creative. You've got to get a little bit more spicy with the angles of where you're hooking from, something like around Raptors, across these river bushes, stuff like that. You cannot just straight up 5v5 a team like Brooklyn, because we gave that team fight advantage over to them. They've got Orianna, they've got Malphite, they've got Neela here. A lot of big 5v5 AoE team fight potential, changing ultimates here that could do a lot of damage. Neela has been quietly farming up a storm here. And yeah, her build's a little wacky, a little quirky, but it does a lot of damage.
Well, should be 28.5 minutes into the game, of the dragon spawning the 5th dragon of the game, 2 apiece for each of these squads. You saw what happened at the prior Drake. Well, definitely going to be keeping an eye out this time around. Jardan's hook does not land. Could be a chance to turn it around. They're going to choose to go on to Blitzcrank. He's going to flash away. Liquid, very, very tanky though. Oh, the Ziggs ultimate doesn't do a lick of damage to anybody. Wing just hit level 17 here in the mid lane. Very important to look at. It looks like they're just going to try to gain control of this mid wave and then potentially parlay that into river control here. You can see everybody on the Rams is forced out. Ziggs going to have to start throwing and landing these bombs. You see, Yone wants an opportunity to go in. Ming taking a little bit of damage here, but here comes Kennen. Here comes Yone. Dragon down to about 2,000 HP. Who's going to secure it? It's going to go over to the blue side. Big ultimate into the back line. They're going to try to make plays happen onto the Yone. But the ultimate from the Kennen going to do a whole lot, stunning him up, flashing out his Yone. Yone's going to try to turn it around. He knocks up 2. He gets a big shield, but they mob him. They take him down. Malphite trying to get away, and he will live. It's a double kill for the Senate on the backside. The Orianna caps off the ace. It's a clean ace, Shibby.
A massive team fight win for Brooklyn here. The apotheosis plus shockwave combo catches 3 from the Rams, and yeah, they're gonna parlay that into a dragon, into a baron, into a tier 2 mid turret here. They might even get the tier 3 here, depending on if Sam keeps pushing down the mid wave. A massive win for Brooklyn. A little late on the trigger for Rams. At that point, you concede the dragon. You do not want a team fight into Brooklyn here. We talked about why, and now, ladies and gentlemen, you've been shown why you don't team fight into them.
Yeah, Sam could find himself in a little bit of trouble here. No, he turns it around onto Jardan, but now it's going to be Kennen trying to hunt down Sam here. The last one just desperately trying to get out, getting some help from a teleport up on the top side. It's going to be Phil joining him to run a little bit of protection. And Brooklyn College at the 30-minute mark is really taking control of this game. As you talked about, Oriana on 3 items, including a Rabadon's Death Cap, is really, really strong now too. And ECPI, the Rams, their moment in the sun may have just set on them. They are in desperation mode.
Yeah, huge desperation mode for the Rams here. I mean, the bell has tolled, right? Yanni, I always talk about it. Once the objective bounties begin, you realize, oh, we're not just down. We're down, super down, right? Like, we're down in the hole. We're 6, 7, 8. We're down to the Earth's core right now. That's how far behind.
You're down worse than some people on Twitter.
Yes. Oh, a lot of people, by the way. You're down really bad. The dinner bell has told for the Brooklyn College here. Rams are down super bad. 7,000 gold in the hole, and Boing is just going to get mobbed like you mentioned. 4 goons. The squad is here, and unfortunately, he's not going to live. Boing, you're out of time, brother. You have not been able to use that lead. 10-5 scoreline, but the rest of your team crumbling behind you.
Oh, Sam does so much damage, but not enough to take out the Ziggs, but Brooklyn College, I mean, they're just waiting for the minion wave to come in. It's a little far away. There's not a whole lot that they're actually able to do off of that pick onto Boing. At least for now, this is allowed time for the Rams to head up to the top lane. So both mid laners are down, and should be at this point in the game. I mean, Sam is almost equally as important as Boing. The only problem is Boing has all of the items, all of the gold, right? And on the other side, Sam, they can live without Sam for a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely can. You've got a 6-1 Malphite. You've got Neela Senna ready to siege here. And yeah, that's what happens when the Rock hits the ultimate here. A massive damage burst onto the Ziggs here. And I mean, it's looking bleaker and bleaker. The Rams kept it even up until the 26-minute mark. And like I said, we were at that point where one team fight can turn the tides here. Unfortunately, the waves are trending for Brooklyn right now. They're going to recall. They're going to cash in their fat stacks, Yanni, and they might just opt in for this game-ending push. A minute till the dragon comes in. They can wait till the Infernal. They can pressure the side lanes here, and they've got all the time in the world to take this dragon here. We've got supers in the mid lane. We've got waves to attend to for the Rams here. They have zero control in their own jungle. While you look at Brooklyn College, they're starting to push up. They're starting to lay the vision down, the groundwork for this 2-0 playoff victory win.
Shibby, how are the Rams going to be able to get control of this jungle in time for the Baron? 40 seconds ago, you saw Jardan take quite a bit of damage. Wasn't able to land the hook. He's gone quiet on that front. Wing is in the area, elects not to go in onto Princeton. So do keep in mind that Wing's ultimate, you know, you mentioned he wasn't going to hit those 5-man ultimates. Still on the table, though. It is possible to get the job done there. We're going to see Gank for Hugs take a back here. We'll look to finish up an item. 15 seconds until this dragon spawns. Teleport available for the Ziggs. Not quite up for the Kennen yet, so he does have to take the back. Should be up by the time he buys and starts running down here. As you can see, Brooklyn College stacked up in a bush. Hasn't been spotted out yet. If they want to go on Boing, they have the opportunity. You can say Phil is the one who gets pulled in. You don't want to pull Phil. You talked about it. He does use the ultimate, but it does not land onto Boing. Now Boing drops the ultimate onto Sam, and Sam is the one who goes down. The Kennen ultimate ripping them to pieces, and it's the Rams. Turnabout is fair play. 4-0. They catch Brooklyn College in their jungle, and they are going to tie the Drakes up at 3 apiece.
7,000 gold down, be damned. The Rams find an immaculate team fight here, and they're going to be able to catch the waves here. We see TP being challenged from Boing in the top side. Death timers are long, 30 seconds on everybody. It's Phil versus the world, and the weight might just be too heavy for him to handle. He flies in!
He flies in with the people's elbow, picking up 2! Double kill for Phil, baby!
One arm apiece, an elbow for both of them. It's like a big brother picking on his little twins right now. Both Boing and Ganks for Hugs go down. He immediately shuts down that top lane play, and this could opt in for a counter push. 3v5, your weakest members are alive for the Rams. Can Brooklyn College do something about it? The counterpunch is available. Baron is coming up in 30 seconds. They should have all the vision control.
Wait, if they kill Jardon here, it could be over. This is very problematic. Cease and desist on top of them. They will be able to take out the Blitzcrank. So now it's a 5v2 on the map for a little bit of time here. There's a huge member loss. This Baron up in 10 seconds. Shibby, it looks like we are going the distance here. This Baron almost sure to be taken here from Brooklyn College, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to finish the game when that happens. And Liquid might have something to say about it. There is quite a bit of damage going on to this Baron.
Flash
They're
available.
gonna invest Sam's teleport here. Baron down to about 4,000 HP.
Nah.
Liquid knows that it's probably not a good time to go in for it. So the Baron secured here for Brooklyn College. You get all that gold, but guess what? Starting to matter less and less. It's going to be about the pushing power that you get on these minions.
Yeah, second Baron of the game taken by Brooklyn here. Their first one actually wasn't that powerful, right? They got the mid lane tier 1 down. They were able to get the inhibitor, but that was kind of it, right? Like, they weren't able to push the side lanes. They weren't able to really get a footing onto some of these objectives, and they kind of just threw away that Infernal Soul that they had, right? They had the vision there. They allowed Jardon to cook just a little bit, and Boing hit a massive ultimate, I believe, onto 2 members here. And we saw Ming and Princeton were deep in the pocket of that fight, and that allows Gank for Hug, his Mega Inferno Bomb, to really put in work here. He's got to finish that Void Staff here, and if he does, he's going to get a massive power spike. He will potentially be like one-shotting people like Ming, people like Princeton here, if not getting them down to like 25% HP here. Brooklyn College not out of the woods yet. They got a harsh reality check for themselves when that Dragon team fight happened. You have to believe they only make that mistake once.
Yeah, they're certainly going to try to tighten it up. And one thing to note is that Boing hasn't been getting any stronger. He's full build. Obviously, the Guardian Angel back up now, so very, very important. But right now, Brooklyn College, it looks like they're going to try to play through mid and top. They're going to have the Kennen deal with that top lane. Keep those minions at bay. We'll see what Brooklyn College wants to do. Maybe they'll try to flip Dragon number 7, as they've been a little bit timid at this point in the game. They're, and you have to be, right? It's such a careful approach here, as you can see. Phil is headed up to the top lane along with everybody else. It's going to pull everybody else. And Jardon with a big hook lands onto the Malphite. He's gone golden. He still has his ultimate available. But yeah, he's going to try to hold out. He gets the Dawning Shadow Shield. He gets started up again. They are able to take down the Malphite. Flashing forward is Boing.
Oh, the
hook lands. And here's the Apotheosis. It pulls in 3.
Oh my God.
A lot of damage. And it's not enough on the back end from this Kennen. Kennen is going to go down. And Sam still completely untouched alive. Although Liquid tries to get in there, but now they're going to
Ming!
Ming does so much damage. And it's a double kill for Princeton, who's rifling away with the auto attacks. The Senna has scaled Shippy. It is a 3v2. But guess what? Thanks for Hugs. He's been doing a lot of damage here. And the Senna can't necessarily out-heal what he's been doing. And that means Brooklyn College will have to back off with a Dragon up in 50 seconds. Shibby, it's going to be Dragon number 7.
Numbers be damned. Brooklyn College expertly kite their way out of that fight, taking advantage of the over-aggressiveness from the Rams here. Yanni, we talked about Jardon not wanting to pull the Malphite in. No. You don't want to pull the Neela in. The Apotheosis into Shockwave combo shredded the Rams, and Neela was in her element, man. She was up in your face, 1v5, 1v4 in your grill. She loves to be there, smacking you around with all that lifesteal here, and this is going to be the deciding factor right now. 7th Dragon. Dragon Soul apiece. Infernal Soul for both of these teams. You have to believe the team that gets this is the team that wins the game here.
A little bit of extra oomph in their damage. Teleport coming in from the cannon. But guess what? This dragon is long gone because Liquid couldn't get there. And no fight to be had. The Rams just a little too slow to the party.
Brooklyn College secure themselves an easy Dragon Infernal Soul for themselves. Phil, Ming, Princeton, Sam, and Whelp are going to be hitting like a 10-ton truck right now. All that damage backloaded with an Infernal Soul with 3 Infernal Dragons as well. You have to think this siege is upon them. Do they need that 3rd Baron, or can they just barrel it down mid lane to take the inhib couple minutes prior to this Baron coming up? Do they chance it? Because like you said, they've been a bit apprehensive. They've been a bit scared. These team fights have gotten a lot closer than they're comfortable with.
Couple things to note. Nyla going to pick up that Guardian Angel is now full build. We're seeing Sam almost there. Has the crystal, so it's a poor man's full build, right? You're almost there, but not quite. Thanks for Hugs, a complete item behind here. So that is one thing to note. You know, it's hovering around 15k gold, but as these teams are starting to finish out their builds a little bit, you know, you're trying to squeeze whatever extra value you can get here because, you know, the gold doesn't matter that much at this point in the game, Shibby. But what matters is, I wonder how much damage Princeton is going to start doing, right? Because we haven't really talked about Princeton a whole lot, but it has this attack range. It has the Infernal Soul getting the extra percentage, not only, but also the damage. Yeah, certainly hurts. I mean, doing tons of damage right now. See, Jardon is in the area, wants to maybe try to land a pick here. You know, Kennen positioned to be able to make a play here if they're able to land a hook, but it feels like they just know that the Rams are lying in wait. Liquid gonna step up. Takes a couple of auto attacks, but that is actually a lot more damage than I expected because of how thick Liquid is. He's thick water.
Oh, yeah, he's that viscous water, right? He's the water that you give when you go to the hospital and you can't really have liquids, right? You gotta stir it in. It's like jello, gelatin, you know what I'm talking about? If you've been to a hospital, if you've ever been admitted, you know what I'm talking about. It is what it is. Yeah, he's a thick boy here. I mean, he's pretty much full build. He's going to round it out with a little bit more MR. Potentially interested to see what he actually ends up going with, if it's like a Spirit Visage, if it's potentially a different magic resistance item. I think he just feels that Sam is kind of hitting a little too hard as the lob from downtown gets thrown over to the Baron to check what's up. Doesn't really hit anybody, but checks that nobody's there. But with that being invested, a big teamfight ultimate, yeah, why not just start it? You shred it with Infernal plus double ADC. Let it rip, Beyblade style, baby.
All right. The 3rd Baron of the game has been secured by Brooklyn College. Now, can Brooklyn College make the play happen? They have Malphite, they have Orianna, they have Neela. There are opportunities for them to go one more time. We'll do the siege, Shibby. You know, Princeton can hit from a mile away. The question is, are they that scared of Wing anymore? Hook does not land from Jardon, but keep an eye on where Kennen is at. You can see a little bit of damage is being done because thanks for Hugs. He can throw bombs. He still has some damage. He's, 4.5 items, but guess what? The wave clear too. We don't really talk about the wave clear of Ziggs, but guess what? At this point in the game, even though you're baroning up your minions, he's still able to rip it.
Yeah, I mean, mid lane's been open for a while, right? The fact that they're so scared because it's an open team fight area, they might, be looking for a flank as I think Ames. Oh, the ultimate comes in!
They pull the trigger on to the Own, who's knocked up a bunch, but look at the backside. It's going to be Kennen on top of the Senna. It's a big shot, and now they're looking for more of the Apotheosis. It's huge, but another huge knockup, but untouched is Nyla, ripping through the team fight. 75% HP, but going forward doesn't give a damn about the turret. A triple kill. It's Sam's revenge, and it is an ace for Brooklyn College. 44 minutes into the game, they hit the go button. They take a 2-0 series to continue into the playoffs.
3 Barons, 4 Dragons, 44 minutes, 28 kills. Finally, Brooklyn College end the game. They take it 2-0, but God damn, man, that is the closest 2-0 that we have seen so far here. through thick and thin, through battered clothes, through the beating that Sam got, his lunch money, his shoes, the black eyes, the swirlies, everything up until that point. The man hit the gym. He deleted Facebook. He got a lawyer, brother. He came back with a vengeance, hit some massive shockwaves along with Ming on these apotheosis here. The double team fight AoE ultimate shreds through the Rams here. And unfortunately, that means that the Rams will fall in this round of 16 playoff matchup. Brooklyn will head on to the top 8 here, the quarterfinals. And man, they've got some firepower. I mean, that was an exciting game too. The best way to cap it off, 44 minutes in. Immaculate play from them. 3 Barons, like we said, 4 Dragons. Holy crap. I mean, that was just, woo! That was a lot.
Chibi, I might not call it immaculate, but what I will call it is gutsy. A gutsy performance by Brooklyn College, going down so hard to that Yon earlier on in the game. And guess what? Not really giving him anything more. It was really the Rams being unable to convert the lead that they had, with the reason why they are staring at a 2-0 loss here. The Steve Rogers Super Serum going over to that Orianna. Really, really strong in that last fight. Got a big triple kill. We're going to take a very short break because we have an interview with Brooklyn College's coach. Don't go anywhere. You want to hear what they have to say. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, Shibby. I'm out of breath after that one. That was absolutely something. But you know what? Ultimately, Brooklyn College Maroon, they were able to come out with a 2-0 victory, and we have their coach, Tentacle Coach. Really, really on the nose there, Tentacle Coach. Congratulations on your team's victory. And
Thank you,
you know,
thank
we
you.
were talking about how sweaty that one was. I have to ask, what was Phil cooking up there with that build?
Yeah, so I will say that most of the time when Phil is on Malphite, it is against his will. Okay,
Yeah.
Phil likes to play the carries and stuff, but what we've learned is that if I tell Phil he's playing Malphite and he complains about it, he usually pops off. And so going into this one, you know, we both actually had a discussion because he and I talk about builds a lot going into it. I'm also a top laner, so
There you go.
we broke it down, and I told him, hey, listen, this is the way to go. You already know you're going Arcane Comet. You know, running the Everfrost with it is the move. And he agreed. And you know, I think the results demonstrated themselves. He showed why that champion is actually a lot more versatile than people give it credit.
You know,
100%.
I honestly was pretty surprised by that. I gotta say, I haven't seen a Malphite build like that, to be quite honest with you. Mostly because he just goes full tank all the time. So that was really, really impressive stuff for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about kind of the different flavors of teams that you kind of drafted, right? Game one, you kind of saw what they were going for. Was the vision behind that game one comp, hey, just never 5v5 them? It's not worth it. It really felt like you guys weren't giving them opportunities to kind of do that 5v5 team fight, right? You were going into the Maokai, the Renata, obviously the Oriana. Was the whole idea after draft, guys, don't team fight them, use numbers advantage, skirmish, and just beat them that way? While in game two, you opted in for a stronger 5v5 composition. What factors into those kinds of decisions, right? Obviously draft, of course, but do you have it kind of pre-planned? Is it more reactive? Like, what are the conversations from flopping from such a different team fight composition into a skirmish composition? Like, where's the idea from that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of both is the answer. So, you know, we go into it with a couple of picks we have right now that are prio.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Rakan and Oriana are big ones for us. We like to use them. We like to let teams pick them. And, you know, we kind of know everything that revolves around those two champs right now. And so I will say that we weren't exactly ready for them to pick Ori on two, just because haven't seen Bwing play it a lot. I don't know that other teams were banning it against him or whatever, but we just, you know, we thought we'd take the Rakan away from Jarden and kind of see where the draft went. And as it sort of developed, it was like, okay, take pieces away from the Oriana. Let's pick something that's a little more skirmish heavy, stay away from the 5v5 stuff, and really only group when we have numbers advantage or can kind of create some kind of significant gold advantage. Phil wanted Aatrox that game. I'll be honest, I griefed the draft a little bit because we weren't prepared for Irelia top. That was on me. I just in my blind spot for that one. But despite that, you know, Phil knew, hey, if I play this the right way, he'll come away with the dub in the lane eventually. And, you know, he sustained some pain for a while there. Despite getting a lot of kills, he was still like 2 levels down, but made it work out until he could finally win in the side lane. So, yeah, again, we wanted to give some different looks. You know, there's some really good competition. ECPI is a good team, but we're also looking forward. And, you know, right after this, we got to go play Weber. So it was kind of also a moment for us to really see what we can, you know, cook in the draft and how versatile we can be.
Yeah, certainly really, really important to be super versatile, right? And one thing I want to talk about is actually the bot lane in that second game, the Senna and the Nyla pickup. I've known that is a lane that's starting to gain in a little bit of popularity. You know, we were kind of expecting the Talon catch, saw the Nyla lock in, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely a thing. So tell me, what do you think makes that lane so strong and why it's just such a good pairing as the game progresses?
Yeah, I mean, here they opted to draft the Sedge Yone, right? Which, if you're playing around those auto attack champs, makes sense. Nyla just stuffs those comps. I mean, I think you see at one point, Yone has like 10 kills and is trying to like fight the Nyla, and she's like, you know, 3-1, and she presses one ability, and his damage is just nullified for about 2 full seconds. So he ends up having to flash, he ends up over-aggressing, and it actually results in him dying, even though he still killed her. But it really stuffs these auto attack comps. And so as soon as they showed that, it's something that we've been working on. I'll be honest, we got it from Ole Miss. We ran into them in the NACC, the NACC Samsung tournament.
Yeah.
And I saw them working on that, and I was like, no shot. So we banned it. But it was something that we saw getting prepared by some of the top teams, and we started working into our and Ming can play everything. A lot of folks think he only plays like 1 or 2 champs, but Ming's a hero. He can play absolutely anything I put him on, and he runs away with it if you give him any space. So it's a lot of fun. Also because Princeton, a lot of teams just give us Rakan. And he's basically been on perma Rakan duty for the entire semester. So any time that I ban Rakan and he gets to play something else, he screams in the comms, it gets lit, it's exciting.
I'm sure he was pretty happy, even though the game went 44 minutes, that he was able to cook pretty hard on Senna. You're in a game 44 minutes long with Senna. Doesn't matter how well or bad the game's going, you're probably a little happy.
Yeah, I mean, a little stressful for the Senna into the Yone, into the Blitzcrank, but again, anytime he doesn't have to play Rakan, he gets excited. So definitely fun for him. And yeah, 40-minute game. They were stressing me out. They were stressing me out a little bit, but they came away with it. They closed it out. They're just resetting for our next series.
Final question here from me. Obviously, I know that there are a lot of points within both games where Brooklyn got kind of really over aggressive when kind of the better play was to take the objective, right? Specifically, game 1 harkens to me where they're trying to dive the Orianna instead of taking the free Herald, right? When the Maokai's down. A couple moments here and there where they're not setting up vision around where they had a confirmed Dragon Soul. Is that something that Brooklyn has kind of been struggling with a little bit? The over aggressiveness? Is it kind of like clearing your comms out and finding that one solid voice? Like, how does Brooklyn navigate that? Obviously, you have another game, best of 3 coming up. Is that something you're going to be telling your players like, hey, I know you're getting kills. I know you guys are getting ahead. Try to take the more objective-based route, especially look on who's on the map, who's not on the map. Is that something your team's been struggling with? You've been getting better? Is this the byproduct? Is this the best we've seen? Or is this maybe some of the low lights?
No, I mean, I think this was, they didn't have a big warm-up today going into the match today. And so it was a little bit of autopilot, a little bit of solo queue mindset when we started off. A couple of like lingering mistakes in the second game. But again, these guys, they know what they're doing. This is definitely not our ceiling. I will say that much. This is nowhere near it. And they know that. So they're reviewing right now. But at the end of the day, our squad has been working really hard together this semester. And the mistakes we do make, we've overcome. And I will also say that we tend to play a lot better when we're playing opponents that, we're really scared of. And I think they underestimated these guys a little bit coming into it, and ECPI made them pay for it. And I'm really glad they did. I genuinely, as a coach, I'm glad they did because I think it woke them up a little bit and said, okay, well, just because it's an Emerald player or just because it's whatever. No, these guys were putting the work in. They had cohesive drafts. They played to their win cons. And, my players, again, they got a little shell-shocked by it. And not so much that they lost, but definitely enough to where I think they're tracking now going into our next series that, hey, if we play like that against Weber, we're going to get stomped. So
love that.
Glad to see. Got some kind words for the other side there, and we're not going to keep you too much longer, technical coach. We know you said you guys have a game to get to, so best of luck in your next match against Weber in just a couple of moments. But that will not be streamed here tonight, but that doesn't mean that we're out of action for Esports U this weekend. This Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have the Fighters Cup presented by the United States Marine Corps. Please be sure to go check that out. It'll be a really fun time. But that's it for us here this evening. So for myself, for Shibby, for Technical Coach, for the fantastic interview, for Professor Layton and Samantha Price behind the glass, thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We hope to see you on Sunday for the Fighters Cup presented by the United States Marine Corps.